Welcome back. As you can see, I switched chairs here during the break. More than half a century, Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist Seymour Hersh found stories other reporters missed. They just simply missed them. His efforts to bring them to light led him to be denounced by top U.S. government officials. His career, now the riveting subject of the upcoming Netflix documentary, Cover-Up. Watch.
People want to talk about stuff they did that was wrong and stupid. All you had to do was just let their voice be the story. There's a history of America that's so hard to write. I was always writing stories that got certain people mad.
This fellow Hersh is a he's probably a communist agent.
Cy, last week you broke a story about an Army lieutenant who was accused of murdering 109 Vietnamese civilians.
Nobody's willing to say, well, you know, the Army's lying through its teeth.
Academy Award-winning filmmaker Laura Poitras, who directed and produced Cover-Up, joins me now. Laura, it's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining me. I watched the documentary. Congratulations. There's a lot to get to, but the one thing I want to let my audience know is, and I alluded to this earlier in the show, this was a long-time effort of yours, years and years and years trying to persuade Seymour Hersh to agree to talk. And then once you began talking, you found out things he was uncomfortable with, and you really got under his skin a little bit.
Yeah, well, it took me 20 years to convince him to do this film. I first asked him in 2005, and he was very gracious, but he said no way. And then I kept asking every few years, and then finally he came around to it. I think he followed my work, and he knew the work I'd done around the NSA and Edward Snowden. And I think he saw me as a little bit of a fellow outsider journalist and had some respect for that. And co-director Mark Obenhaus, and he had collaborated on other films. So yeah, we talked him into it, and hopefully we drew him out a little.
Yes. There's a phrase that's used early in the documentary there, he's always going where nobody wants you. That's a kind of an encapsulation of Cy Hersh's career.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, Cy is known for breaking some of the most important stories. He's angered every president he's ever reported about. The stories that we focus on in the film, I mean, there are many, but the key ones are the massacre in My Lai that happened during the Vietnam War that Cy won a Pulitzer for as an independent journalist. It was a story that nobody wanted to touch, but he broke it. He reported also on the CIA, the MK Ultra program, which was using LSD for mind control. And then in the Iraq War, the torture at Abu Ghraib prison. So these were all stories that made some enemies, but were some of the most important journalistic stories that have been broken.
And he talks to you about how these develop. And it's fascinating to listen to his explanation how these stories develop.
Yeah, I mean, what we were trying to do with the film is really show how investigative journalism works. And slow down time and see how he gets a tip and how he follows it. And so with the My Lai massacre, it was first he heard that there was a trial, then he heard a name, and then there was a lawyer. So we wanted to walk the audience through how this kind of journalism works and the kind of pushback it received when he reported it. It didn't make a lot of friends in the government or in the military, but he also, interestingly, it was because of the My Lai reporting that he developed some of his best sources, because there were so many people within the government that were also very critical of that war. And so, yeah, he's known for, making some enemies and also for just having incredible sources to tell these stories.
One of the characters in the documentary is paper. Paper.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of paper, documents, notes, paper stacks, files, etc. Things that are evidentiary that you need to lean on as an investigative reporter to verify and to tell people when they accuse you of lying or being a propagandist or anti-American or whatever, you got the goods.
Right, that's right. I mean, thank you for noticing that. We spend a lot of time with Cy's notebooks, which he's kept for decades, and they are actually a character in the film, and we look at them, we use them as part of our tool when we were developing questions for the interview, and we film them. You see when he first is breaking the Abu Ghraib story, it says, death by torture, you see in his notes, and then he ultimately reports that story. So yeah, we really wanted to show how investigative journalist is empirical and evidentiary, and to show the audience those
And in Abu Ghraib's case, as he says in the documentary, you needed documents, but you needed more than anything else, pictures.
Yeah, I mean, in both of these stories, in both in My Lai and with Abu Ghraib, the atrocities they were documented. And so, although that's not his first way that he broke the story, that those photographs ultimately came forward. And yeah, I mean, those photographs, they're undeniable, right? In terms of what you see. I mean, you can't look at those photographs and not be horrified if Abu Ghraib or if, young babies murdered with their mothers holding them. I mean, these are horrifying atrocities.
When you watch the documentary, you understand when you keep digging, you keep finding. Laura Poitras, thank you very much. Cover Up premieres on Netflix. Write this date down, December 26th.